Welcome back, my gentle listeners. Lately, life has felt a little rushed for me. I've been moving between work responsibilities, attending my virtual classroom, and my MSc dissertation proposal, juggling deadlines, ideas, research, and analysis. And in the middle of all this, I paused. Attending virtual learning classes made me reflect a lot on how we behave digitally, how we interact, communicate, and leave traces of ourselves in virtual spaces. And it reminded me of the importance of netiquettes, a term derived from etiquette, which refers to the set of norms and ethics that guide respectful, responsible, and mindful behavior online or in virtual environments. Today's episode is titled Digital Behavior, the Theory of Dumb. And by theory of the dumb, I do not mean anyone is unintelligent. I use it to describe what happens when we are overwhelmed by information, when behavior rather than intention quietly drives the creation of big data. My professional motto has always been linking professionalism to humanism, and that belief has guided me deeply during this research phase of my life. While working with unstructured digital data and observing how rapidly it's growing, I started thinking about digital behavior as a potential dissertation topic. But I also realized that on its own, digital behavior offers less scope for applying advanced analytical techniques, which is an important consideration in data science research. So thankfully, I have this space. And instead of my professors, I have my gentle listeners. People who are open to curiosity, reflection, and questions that do not always have neat answers. So today I want to explore this topic with you in a reflective, human-centered way, looking at how our digital behavior quietly shapes big data, online spaces, and even our environment. Let's move now to understanding digital behavior. When we hear the term digital behavior, we often think about social media habits, screen time, or online attention. But digital behavior goes much deeper, and often it happens quietly. It's how often we save files, how many versions of the same document we keep, how many photos we back up without ever opening them again, how rarely we delete, how often data is duplicated across devices and platforms. Most of this is unconscious behavior. We do not consciously decide to create big data, but we simply behave. And this is a key shift in perspective. Big data does not start with algorithms. It starts with human behavior. Now we are moving towards the small actions to big data. Big data often sounds abstract and technical, but it is built from very small, ordinary actions. A click, an upload, a backup, a sync, a save, just in case we need again. Multiply these actions by millions of people across years, devices, clouds, and systems. And suddenly, we are not just users of big data, we are its creators. Digital behavior scales faster than our awareness of its consequences, and that's what makes it both powerful and risky. Every file you create, every document, text, email, photo, or video is stored somewhere. Usually, it lives on a server. A server is a computer or a group of computers that stores your information and sends it back to you through the internet when you need it. A server may feel invisible to us, but somewhere in the world it exists as a real physical computer. And that computer consumes electricity, needs cooling to keep running, lives inside real buildings, and leaves a carbon footprint. Yes, the carbon dioxide that is released into the air because of its operation. So even though data feels light, effortless, almost invisible, it is not weightless. We once overconsumed paper, because it felt endless. Now we are over consuming data space because it feels invisible. And just like before, the impact only becomes visible when the scale becomes too large to ignore. There is where the idea of green data comes in. Thinking about data not just as storage of value, but as something that has environmental consequences. I will give some numbers to put this in perspective, and I'll do my best to explain them without any technical words so everyone can understand and really picture the impact. In 2024, the total amount of digital data in the world was about 149 zettabytes. That's around 149 trillion gigabytes of information stored, copied, and shared every day. Now, what does that actually mean? 1 gigabyte is roughly 300 photos or one short video. 1 terabyte would fill about 20 large filing cabinets. In 1 zettabyte, yes, 1 trillion gigabytes would be enough paper to cover the entire planet several times over. So when we talk about 149 zettabytes, we are not just talking numbers. You're talking about an almost unimaginable amount of photos, videos, emails, and files, all stored in real servers that consumes energy, require cooling, and leave a carbon footprint. By 2025, experts expect global data to grow around 181 zettabytes, which is even more massive. Every minute, over 500 hours of videos are uploaded on YouTube, 700,000 stories shared on Instagram, and 200 million emails sent. And social media is just the tip of the iceberg. Data is everywhere, coming from sensors on our phones, weather stations, traffic cameras, GPS devices, and smart applications. Data centers alone account for 2 to 3% of global electricity use. That's roughly the same as the aviation industry, meaning all the planes, jets, and aircraft flying around the world. Our everyday actions, backing up files, duplicating photos, saving just in case, quietly scale into massive environmental consequences. This is why we need to think about green data, not just as storage of value, but as something that affects the environment, uses energy, and consumes resources. This is called data ecology, a living system where our digital behavior, servers, sensors, and the environment all interact. Every file we create, every app we use, and every sensor in the world contributes to this complex ecosystem. A few years ago, I read a book, The Third Wave by Alvin Toffler. And ever since, I just cannot stop noticing it. Every little human action seems connected to economic growth. Every click, every habit, every save it just in case is quietly producing something, often without us even realizing it. Which brings me to the three-wave theory, behavior as production. Alvin Toffler's three waves theory helps explain the major shifts we are living through. First wave, agriculture, land, labor, and food production. People worked with the earth to grow what they needed. Life and work were tied directly to physical labor and natural resources. The second wave, industry, machines, factories, and mass production. Work shifted to assembly lines and centralized production. Efficiency, standardization, and scale became the new drivers of value. The third wave, information, where data becomes a core resource. Work is no longer just about physical labor or machines, it's about knowledge, digital output, and behavior itself. Here's the part we often overlook. In this third wave, behavior itself has become production. Every interaction online creates data. Every habit feeds a system. Every click, upload, or save leaves a digital trace. In offices and corporate culture, this is especially evident. Every email you send, every spreadsheet you update, every virtual meeting you attend, even how you use digital tools, all of it is producing measurable value. Our routines, habits, and tiny digital actions are quietly generating data, shaping systems and contributing to economic growth, often without us noticing. We are not just consumers of platforms, we are continuously shaping them through our behavior, just like farmers shape the land or factory workers shape products. But here, in the third wave, it's invisible, intangible, and constant. Unlike the farmers of the first wave or the factories of the second wave, the production of this third wave does not make noise. It does not leave visible piles of product. It does not have clear boundaries. Yet it is relentless, persistent, and global. Every click, upload, or save feeds into vast digital ecosystem, creating patterns, influencing algorithms, and producing value. In many ways, our offices, digital tools, and even social media platforms have become quite factories of the third wave, producing not objects but data, behavior, and influence. And just like any ecosystem, small actions accumulate. A single habit may seem insignificant, but multiplied across millions of people, it becomes a massive living system, quietly shaping the world around us. This is why understanding our digital behavior is so important, because in the third wave, we are always producing, whether we realize it or not. Now, let's talk about the theory of dumb and everyday habits. Our digital lives are overflowing, and our habits reflect that. Think about it, and I've been there myself. My desktop used to be cluttered with files I would probably never open. My phone screen used to be full of apps, most of which I barely use. I never deleted photos or emptied my recycle bin. And yet, somehow we are always running out of storage. Hard drives, phone storage, cloud storage. No matter how much space we have, it never seems enough. This behavior is not unique to me. It's something most of us do and quietly generates massive amounts of data. But here's the insight. This habit is actually a lesson in learning to let go. Letting go of unnecessary files, old apps, or duplicate photos is not just about freeing digital space, it's about letting go of a habit. It's about being intentional, taking responsibility for our digital behavior, and slowing down in a world that constantly tells us to store everything. Here's a practical tip for cultivating a mindful habit with data. Be mindful, not unintentional. Train your brain the way you might train a child to turn off the light when leaving a room. Before you save or duplicate a file, pause and ask, do I really need this? Will I use it again? Delete what's unnecessary, organize what's important, and make your digital space intentional. For example, if you just finished editing a photo and don't need the original multiple versions, delete the extras. Finished a project report, archive or remove older drafts you won't use. Old apps or duplicates on your phone, if they don't add value, let them go. You can even make it a weekly ritual. Clean your desktop, phone, or cloud storage. Think of it as digital decluttering, just like tidying a physical space, but with the added bonus of reducing the environmental footprint of all the data. When we recognize these patterns, these everyday dumb habits, we start to see the hidden ripple effects of our digital footprint. And this reflection connects back to our earlier idea of data ecology and the third wave. Our digital behavior is production, but it's also a practice in mindfulness, responsibility, and balance. Because in the end, every small action matters. Every file we choose to save or delete, every photo we keep or remove, contributes to the living ecosystem of data we are part of. Now let's move towards humanism in a data-driven world. And this brings me back to my professional motto. Professionalism without humanism is incomplete. Data science without the reflection can become careless. Efficiency without ethics can become harmful. Storage without intention can become waste. Digital behavior matters because it reflects our values. Do we pause before saving or uploading? Do we question necessity? Do we design systems that encourage responsibility instead of access? These are not technical questions, they are deeply human questions. And this is where the fourth wave comes in. In the third wave, our smallest behaviors created data that shaped systems. In the fourth wave, technology itself begins to influence and guide our behavior. Algorithms, AI, and smart systems do not just record what we do, they nudge us, predict our actions, and sometimes even decide for us. In short, the technology itself starts to influence what we do. Think about it. Your phone or computer suggests app, photos, or content you might want. Social media shows posts it thinks you will like, nudging what you see and do. Smart devices in our homes adjust settings automatically. Here's the key: use technology as your assistant. You have to train it, not let it lead you. Decide what suggestions you follow and what you ignore. Set limits on apps or notifications that distract you. Organize your files and tools intentionally so technology helps you instead of controlling you. In other words, we are not just producing data anymore. The systems we use are shaping our habits too, but we can guide them. So, humanism in a data driven world is about being mindful and intentional, not letting technology make all the decisions for us. Instead, using digital tools in ways that reflect our values, making small choices every day that reduce waste, unnecessary storage, and careless habits. Because in the end, our behavior and our values together shape the digital world we live in. And technology can be our powerful ally if we treat it intentionally. So, before we wrap up, my gentle listeners, ask yourself, am I being mindful of my digital habits, or am I letting clutter and just in case thinking take over? Always remember, be intentional, be mindful, and even in a world driven by data, humanism is your superpower. Thanks for thinking with me today. Your host, Natty the Nerd at Reflections, Tadabbur.
Subscribe now to Reflections, to dabble with Natty the Nerd.